Good evening and welcome to the LSRL F1 Light Speed Racing League Season 2 Round 1 from Monza. I am James Parfitt. I'm going to be joined in the booth with the one and only, the mighty Australian, which will be Dean Biggles, who's going to join us very, very shortly, guys. We are here at Monza, set in Italy for this opening round of 16 Brick Ground on 15th of May 1922. Opened on the 3rd of September 1922 as well. Currently holds the Formula 1 Grand Prix, the FIA World Endurance Championship, the European Le Mans Series, amongst others as well. 3 configurations, but we are here on the Grand Prix circuit. 5.75 kilometers of epic race tracks, 11 turns, 3.6 miles, and a track record of 121.046, set by Rubens Barrichello back in 2004. So there you go. And what have we got coming up for you? Well, guys, we've got qualifying, which they will be going into very, very shortly. 15 minutes over open qualifying. Then we're going to do a 3-lap sprint race to determine the grid for the 30-lap feature race. So all races are fixed setup. Each driver gets 1 fast repair, and each driver is required to make 1 pit stop to change tyre compounds. So they've got to make a pit stop. We've got 18 cars on track this evening, and what a barnstorming evening is going to be of F1 W12 racing here on the LSRL F1. Welcome in, Dan Peebles. Not quite sure why you're still not asleep. I'm guessing you're not going to sleep, and I think it's time to bring in the Mr. Biggles into the booth. Good evening, sir. How are you?
Monza, my friend, if you got all those for the translation. This is the Italian Grand Prix in this place we call Monza. Exactly. I'm here. I'm excited. 1922, you mentioned. They've been racing here in the Formula 1 Championship since 1950, the Royal Park of Monza. It took 110 days, just 110 days to build this permanent circuit. Downforce, speed, and the Temple of Speed. A little changing over the years, but still one of those favorites for all the race drivers.
Yeah, it should be an absolute epic evening of racing, and one that I'm highly looking forward to. I think overall it's going to be incredible. We've got Steve Baker, Jay Smart is here as well. Mac Miller, last season's championship winner, is also here, and I think overall we're in for a good season. We've got 16 racetracks. We go to Monza this week, and then on the 18th we're going off to Long Beach. Now, Long Beach isn't always people's favourite circuits, and then we go to Spa, which is definitely mine, and that rounds out January. So we've got 3 races for you in January, and I think one that's going to be absolutely incredible to look forward to will be Monza. I think overall that's probably one of the favourite circuits here this season. Spa is another one as well. Biggles, any favourites on there that you're looking forward to?
You knew exactly what you're leading me into that question, isn't it? February the 1st, where are we going? To the Thunder from Down Under, the mountain that you want to conquer of all mountains, if I'm not mistaken about that one, for the Australian GP at Mount Panorama. That's going to be one to look out for. Long Beach, as you mentioned, I've seen safety cars crash into the final quarter of Long Beach, mate. That is a tight and twisty section, but we'll worry about that one a little bit later, because Monza is the one you want to win, the Temple of Speed, of course. It's only 11 corners, mate. That's it, just 11. Navigate that to the quickest of your ability. You're on the top of the timesheets. Yeah, definitely. And I think the mixture of road courses and circuit courses are going to bring something a different dimension here this season. I want to be interested to see how this W13 goes whizzing round Bathurst. I think dropping through the mountain section, that could be absolutely incredible, I think, for these guys who have got to try and maintain that. You know, I can't do it in a GT3, let alone in a what did they
W13.
sign up for to do that, James? That's difficult.
Yeah, they definitely were. Somebody definitely punished them in a previous life and was like, right, you're going to do Belfast in the W12. So, yeah, let's see what happens here. There's no point you blaming me, Mr. Dan Peebles, for the fact that you're still awake. It's not my fault Not gonna lie. So
yes,
Dan,
it is.
Well,
you're creating
so.
the racing entertainment, James. And well, look at Baker's got the top of the timesheets at the moment in the practice session. Of course, it doesn't make too much of a difference till we get into qualifying. But you got to remember too that Mac Miller beat Steve Baker by 2 points in the previous round, in the previous championship. So there's a bit of a rivalry brewing, perhaps.
Yeah. Absolutely. I know it's a I said the W12, Mr. Peoples. Thank you very much. But we got 35 seconds remaining of practice before we go into quali, which will set the grid for the 3-lap sprint race. Now, just how difficult is it to get a 3-lap sprint race under control early on? Because, you know, you haven't got long to settle in, have you? You kind of just got to go for it from the very beginning.
Have you ever watched the in the Formula 1 game, not the sim that this is? Have you seen a 5-lap open lobbies before in the Formula 1 game? That's pretty much an indication of what it could be.
I drove in them in 20. I think it was a 2020 version of it, and then I decided enough was enough for me because I didn't last very long, and I didn't enjoy that, I've got to be honest. But you know, I think these guys are a little bit more professional than me. You know what I mean? I think they've.
Well, you get what, two? Do you get 2 laps with the DRS? You know the DRS is almighty and powerful around here in the Temple of Speed. So you only get 2 of them because your DRS isn't activated until the 3rd lap. So that's not a lot of overtaking. If you're going to do a little bit of an overtaking opportunity, you're going to have to do it down at the turn 1, of course, and hopefully no halo on halo action. Max Verstappen, of course, and Lewis Hamilton back in the day. Dan is probably just hyped up right now on bitterballs. I think it is the snack that you have there in the Netherlands, and everybody in the chat as well. Shout out your favorite food. Just don't shout out pineapple on your pizza too much around here in Italy because you might be popular.
I love pineapple on my pizza.
I know, but
I know.
Don't you want to exit this country, my friend? You could get banned by saying that out loud. Let's keep that quiet.
Yeah, but I do love pineapple on pizza.
Italians don't like it.
It's not my fault.
But the Italians don't like that. It's a no-no.
I didn't do that, did I? It's not my fault that
James, I want to leave this country, mate. Don't put me in this situation.
Well, we'll see. Is there a reason they are not racing the W13 since it's in iRacing? Well, the reason was that they weren't entirely sure how the W13 was going to run. That's why we've run with the W12 currently at the moment. So that's why it was run as it is with the W12, because they weren't entirely sure what effects the W13 was going to have. So they've run the W12 until what situation they know the W13 is going to be stable. So there we go. That was
Dan's throwing them under the London bus, isn't he? Immediately, mate. The W13s haven't been out that long, so give the drivers a little bit of time to get to handling models this level. It is fixed setup, so you know it's more even Stevens than it is. You can still tweak a lot of the stuff, and as you said, we got 1 fast repair. You have to do your pit stops around here. But the interesting strategies you mentioned is that shootout, really, that 5-lap shootout, is Max shooting his car into the air out of 4 and 5 regatta, I think it is. He's making his way through the 2nd and 3rd. There's only 2 Lesmos, my apologies.
Yeah. It's going to be an interesting one
to see here.
We haven't got any times on the board currently at the moment. So we are waiting. And
what are you expecting there, James?
I'm not really sure.
111s, 112s, 113s is the F1 game. This is the F1 sim.
Yeah, it's how close they decided that they can get to it, really. I think that's going to be the interesting thing, is whether or not how close they're going to be on that time kind of scale. I think, to be honest with you, you know, I know a lot of them have been out practicing and giving it their best shot, and hopefully it should all go well for them, but it's a tough one, as we've got a 120 by Mac Miller there, as well as Agar's coming across the line at the moment. You can see their screen on the bottom with the purple. They're going fastest overall. If they're green, they're improving, and then if they're orange, they're not improving. So that, I think, to be honest, will give us a better picture of how it's going to go here tonight. And I think there's going to be a lot of people running green here, and I think the times are going to be coming in thick and fast. I think that's going to be one of the things we've got to look out for. Is just, I think 120.8 from Miller. He's kind of set the benchmark already, to be honest. You know what I mean?
You're right.
It's going to be around that.
I think I shortcutted them by about 10 seconds. It's not 110. It's about 117. Well, 117, I think, is pretty much the record. But 120 is a very good lap to get in. You're going to see somebody break it into the 19s and maybe into the 18s. But generally, you'll find in iRacing, isn't it? Those first laps that you get in, the banker laps, are the ones that are hardest to beat as later on into the track. Mac Miller and Steve Baker once again resuming their battle on top of the timesheets, P1 and P2.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be interesting between them two, you know, because I think they are, in hindsight, some of the fastest. You know, they both got the highest I rating out of the field, and I think they're going to be the ones that everybody's got to try and chase and to make that difference. And it's going to be tough trying to make a difference on two drivers that are incredibly quick. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, the spread goes from 3.8k off Mac Miller all the way down to Anthony and 854. But it doesn't always represent the best of your abilities. Of course, your I rating is just your I rating and average. On average for the I rating, I'd have to say for the whole spread of the field, you'd have to put it around 1.8k. These are difficult beasts to tame. Compared to some of the GT3 cars and stuff like that, we're going to see that more of a field spread. You know, Formula One is the pinnacle of motorsports, and of course, the pinnacle of drivers have to manage these cars.
Yeah, the track and field 1.6k currently. So
yeah, pretty much guessed it. All right, give or take. And that's sure that who is parked in the pit lane
Steve
exit
Baker.
is not a great place to be parking a car, because look at the action in the background. That's a little bit of a no-no already, my friend.
Yeah.
And a qualifying session. Ooh.
Yeah, I wouldn't have done in hindsight. Zachary Kokos here and also Steve Rubens were the ones that came together trying to get round that parked car, which is a little bit annoying, but there we go.
He might have just pushed a button wrong on his steering wheel as we're seeing somebody go all the way around wrong.
Steve
And
Baker
is
as
that
well.
out of a Scari? Yeah, it happens. Pushing it to the limits. Of course, you're allowed to do that during the qualifying session. Unfortunately, it just runs the clock down for more and more of your time. You want to be getting on the time and the tempo speed. This is the one you want to get right. Of course, everybody wants to win this one, don't they, James? How great is that podium celebration? One of the only podium celebrations you get to go over the track there. About 10 million screaming Tifosi fans shouting at you.
The only shame with that is the fact that we don't ever see a podium here in iRacing. Do you know what I mean? That's the problem. You know, we don't.
Yes, true.
We don't
Barney
have
does.
Yeah, Barney does, but we don't have a podium, you know, set up, do we? We don't. It's not
iRacing. Pay attention.
iRacing. There's no podium animation like there is in the F1 game. You know.
Yeah.
So
the F1 game is more for visual and glory. Remember, iRacing is more about focusing on how it feels for the drivers and the cars more than anything, isn't it?
Yeah.
They focus on that nitty gritty rather than making it look pretty, which is what we really want at the end of the day. For us, not as glamorous. Is at the moment on the Ferrari car. Of course, they're all W12s in the Mercedes, but let's just pretend that it's a Ferrari as we're on board through out of a Scari. Right there, that rhymes on my poem. I didn't even know it, James.
You got skills this morning, Biggles. That's what it is. I think that's the...
Got a giggle from James already. Here we go.
The skills going on, you know what I mean? Right, guys, I'm going to try and get some sleep, have a good stream, and enjoy the race. So Dan Peoples is now officially...
Don't you leave me alone, James.
Well, he's going to get sleep.
Elliot now.
Elliot Board just going to probably put it on fourth there. Dan's off to bed. So, yeah, stay tuned. It's that one. I'm sure it might be.
Do you reckon?
Again.
I don't think he can, mate. He's going to wait another 6 minutes for the race start at least. You know that for a fact. He cannot leave when the race is about to start after the qualifying session. Dan is too much of a racer at heart to let that one fly.
Exactly. I think
He said the emphasis on the word try and get some sleep.
Yeah. That's bear with me, and I'm trying to sort out some issues I've got going on at the moment. So I'm just trying to sort some stuff out in the background. We have got 6 minutes remaining here of qualifying.
Ryan O'Connor's improving at the moment. Tyler, a little bit of an improvement. Kyle and Elliot Borg aren't so much. But then again, 3 sectors. You can really improve around here in 1 sector alone. And that's the 3rd sector where you got top speed, maximum risk, maximum reward. Elliot won't be rewarding himself too much more on that one. But I'd imagine the 20 mark, I want to see somebody break it. I don't think anybody's got into the 19s just yet. But Mac Miller, of course, has set down a super lap, as Elliot Borg will return back into the pit lane. Lindsay Green, the 3rd, is improving. Dylan's not. And Mason Seger, as you can see, isn't so much at the moment. You see orange next to their names. Lindsay in P13, looking to probably crack the 22s, perhaps there for Lindsay. Green, the 2nd, by the Burnt Rubber Racing team. Be a key as Masson... I don't think Masson's going to be doing too much better on this lap. 5 minutes remaining. I think Lindsay will. 1.1 second off the pace. Does looking for a 120. Keep an eye on that one. 123.8. Lindsay does go to P11. So it was an improvement there. Trey Banks might be improving a little bit from P9. Setting the fastest 2nd sector. And 3 sectors around here in the Temple of Speed. There's Troy Banks. A little bit of traffic to deal with. Ooh, wow, there's a lot of traffic here in Italy. It felt like the traffic coming into the race there, James. Italian traffic is not the best traffic you want to deal with. It's kind of like the M2 highway in United Kingdom on a Friday afternoon.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think that traffic is... They've got to pick, with the open quali, they've got to kind of pick and choose where they, deal with things, because this circuit is all pretty much straights and a few little wiggly corners, and not a lot else to go with it, to be honest. And we can have a look here on board now with Anthony Giuliano, and as he goes running around this racetrack, goes around Prima Variante off, coming into the 2nd Variante now. He's going to go under the bridge and look for his braking point on the right hand side. There it is. And up
Gets
he
it.
goes.
Nails it.
Nails it. Round the first lesmo.
Feels good. Yeah, second lesmo is a tricky one that you see a lot in the iRacing. You want to, it's a little bit more sensation of speed, but you don't go too much out. He does. On the power 6 gear, I should be up to 7th gear, and you've got to max it out to 8th gear. The DRS activation about now, and then get ready for a scurry. A scurry is the one you have to nail. So final couple of corners you have to nail properly to get a good S speed down the back straight away. He does it. Smooth operator, Mr. Antonio. And he's not Italian, at least he's not driving on an Italian flag, but I'll tell you what, it has an Italian name next to it. And of course, the final, Alborato or Parabolica, what do you even call it? But this is when he went on L2.
Yeah, and as he comes around there now, it seems to have nailed it in. It goes into the pits.
Yeah, he's just
decided surprised, to be fair,
for the blue balls.
Yeah, because he seems to be doing quite well.
It's surprising because, obviously if iRacing, you can just slap the button and just disappear back to the pit lane. But they are driving into the pit lane. Pit lane entrance is so tricky. Oh, look at a massive smash in the background there, James. You catch that?
No, Dylan Gonez, I believe.
Yeah.
Has just put it in to the wall. We're going to have a look
gotta hurt
at that one right about now.
Was that out of a scurry?
Oh.
No, way before it.
Yeah. It just catches
the lucky that
line and goes off. So that is Dylan there off track. As we go back into
I don't think anybody can beat Mac Miller's time at the moment. I really don't think it. I think Mac Miller's sitting in the pit lane right now just going, come on, bring it. We got 1 minute and 40 and change to go. Mac is back. Mac attack. He's got so much of a domination at time that... Elliot, maybe? Look at Elliot Borgs at the fastest first sector. on a rampage. So keep an eye out for the man, the 63 machine, currently in P4. Here it is, right on cue. You got it, James. Now, we're getting a little purple to his name. Either way, it doesn't matter. You got one purple. That means you nailed the first sector. That's a tricky one to nail. Ascari is the one he has to nail right now. This could be a pole.
Yeah, Elliot Berg. Interested to see how he gets on now. See if he can run round the Parabolica. He's got 2 greens on the board at the moment, Biggles. What do you think? Is he going to get it?
No, he's backed off. Why? Completely. Going for another lap, James. That's why he's going for another lap. But that's probably backed off a little bit too much. You're going to compromise your exit speed at Parabolica following the pit lane. What happened there? Jay Smart's now setting a purple. Keep an eye out for the clutches of Wells Racing. 44 car. And remnants, of course, of Lewis Hamilton. But not the same. It's Jay Smart. He's from the United States of America. He says, let me bring some US racing there. Sorry to FIA. Andretti Racing perhaps are back, or maybe you want to be into the pack. We don't even go on that one, will we? He's got a bit of a golf livery. Let's see if Jay's not going to pull in the pit lane and get a time. I'm really going to cause controversy with that one, aren't I? Here we go. I know. He was going quicker. Jay Smart. Come on. Top step. Well, the front row is yours if you can hook it up here for the final time. How about qualifying session?
Qualifying's over.
Don't think he did.
No. Qualifying is over. We will be able to bring you up the grid for tonight's race. Matt Miller is in first, Steve Baker in second, Jay Smart third, Ryan O'Connor in fourth, Elliot Borg fifth, Daniel B. Johnson in sixth, Troy Banks seventh, Carl Hurlitz in eighth, Dylan Gonaz ninth, Steve Rubens 10th, Mason Sagar 11th, Tamas Boniati is down in 12th place. Then beyond that, we've got Lindsay Green in 13th, Tyler Gatke 14th, Zachary Kokos in 15th, Anthony Giuliano 16th, Michael Kostick in 17th, and Sean Atkins in 18th place. So we've got the 3-lap sprint ready to go here tonight. And, well, as we're waiting for the empty spot of Mac Miller there to join us, we can have a whiz.
Yeah, this is going to be close your eyes in turn 1 and turn 2, isn't it? You're going to be gambling it, risking it for the biscuit per se, because it's a sprint. It's only 3 laps. No DRS is available, just your battery management. And this is going to dictate how you're going to be panning out your races coming up a little bit better. But I'll tell you what, Mr. Miller is in the top. And look out for Mac Miller and Steve Baker. And Jay Smart maybe making a little bit of a run to the top 2 into turn 1. Oof. I'll tell you what, it's always exciting when you're here in the Temple of Speed.
Yeah, as we have a look round that W12. Anthony Giuliano just waiting for him to get onto the grid. You can see Mac Miller there sitting there focused, ready to go. Giuliano's got about 10 seconds to get onto the grid, otherwise he's going to miss it completely.
He's overheating these guys at the moment, and the revs at the moment. You remember, these are cars that are fueled. Well, there we go. James, get ready. I think we're going to be going. First race of the season.
Here we go. The lights are coming on now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we are underway for the LSRL F1 live from Monza for the 3-lap sprint race. It is currently Matt Miller and Jay Smart leading the way as they come into turn 1. I'm expecting some big things here, preferably not. Oh, they all file through. Oh, look at there we go. It's now a parking lot at the back end of the field, and everybody is currently sat there. Oh, well, I was going to say they were gone through cleanly there, Biggles, but they kind of didn't.
I think it was Mason. It was Mason Sager, of course, is out for the G-Line Racing team. Well, then again, there's so many are going into one corner, 18 cars perhaps going into the first couple of corners. You know something was going to happen, and unfortunately Mason didn't happen his way. But Jay Smart did make his way up into P2 currently. And my big gain, of course, is Thomas in P6, getting 6 positions with the Bull Shift Racing. I want to make sure I said that one right, James. Otherwise, we'll be in a little bit of trouble on the broadcast.
Yeah, it's... Some of the team names, they have gone full board with the team names, so I'm quite impressed with them, really. But we're on board with Sean Atkins. Oh, locked in the field, and Lindsay Green in front of him currently at the moment. So we have to plan out and see how this one is
really
working out. But
wide.
he's gone really well on this run up into the final corner. Bear with me, the overlay, the timing software has decided it's now a good time to freeze. So
it's okay, James. Is God, really wide there. Gonez, I think it was. Dylan Gonez for the Victoria's Secret. They are really definitely throwing a spanner in the mix on us. They saw what happened last time for the last season there, James. They want to throw a little bit of a spanner in the mixer for our name for the racing teams. Here we go. Down to the turn one. Well, couple of adventures in the turn one into the first lap, but now second lap, they've learned their lesson and filing through one by one.
Yeah, absolutely. So they are underway. We will try and have a look back at that incident that happened at the start, but we are on lap 2 of 3, and it's Matt Miller out in front with Jay Smart, Steve Baker, Ryan O'Connor. In your top 4, Troy Banks in 5 as well. These guys are looking like they've opened up a little bit of a gate. It looked like Troy Banks is going very, very slowly there, even though my eyes were deceiving me. But he is looking like he's travelling rather slowly currently at the moment there, Biggles.
Who did you mention, sorry?
Troy Banks was going rather slow.
Troy Banks. So I'm able to keep an eye on that little brew that's battling from Steve Baker as well, too, on the back of the J Smart. That's a battle for P2. As you can see, Miss Miller up the road pretty clearly. But look at that. The DL, or no DRS, but slipstream run there. Mr. Baker running at P3. Who's going to be sticking to the racing line? Keep it out. Steve Baker's on the left-hand side. The right-hand side of your screen will be Mr. Smart. And Baker's going to make it stick. Does he make it stick? He does.
Matt Miller's at the end of the chicane after going through and completely missing the chicane. He's going to be under a slowdown rule. There's got to be some form of when he's going to decide he wants to hit the brakes.
Yeah, he has. He has to let him through, James, right now. He has to. And he is trying to do it to the hardest way possible. But, look at this three-way battle for the top 3 of this race. And the last lap, of course, in this heat sprint to dictate what's going to happen for the final, for each feature race coming up soon.
Yeah.
So they're bringing O'Connor into play, right?
It looks like he may have been managing to be able to do that and may have brought his slowdown off before he's got to the end. But he's, if he has managed it there, Biggles, he's done really well. Because he would have copped something at the end of that
That's
first
micromanagement 101 if you could do that. Yeah, a little bit of a gap, of course, but just that outbreaking himself is really big time trouble. But there's your top 4 you can see right now. Mac Miller, Steve Baker, Jay Smart, and Ryan has caught that party a little bit way further down there. Is the red machine there of Borg, but this is it.
This is
as they're
corner.
making their way around to the finale, final lap, final corner.
Yeah, Matt Miller is going to take the victory in the 3-lap sprint race. Steve Baker in second. Jay Smart just gets it ahead of Ryan O'Connor there. As they come down now, further down, here comes Sean Atkins. He's having a battle with Dylan Gomez. As they come to the line now, is it going to be Sean Atkins? Is it going to be Gomez? It's Atkins. Sean Atkins got it.
He slowed down. Was that Dylan that slowed down drastically towards the end there for the Victoria's Secret? His teammate as well, too, was Sean was the one that he allowed through. So perhaps that was teammates' work at play.
Maybe Victoria's Secrets, I should say.
I thought Victoria was a secret no more because we all know about the Victoria's Secret, but we don't. No, there's no secret at the moment who won the sprint race as those results will come up on the screen because Mac Miller is back in town.
Yeah, well, we're just waiting for the results to come through.
Me asking if the stream is lagging. Looks okay for me. I'm watching all the multiple screens of that one.
No,
and James,
it is a little
should
bit.
be results up on the screen.
Yeah, I'm having a little bit of internet issues currently at the moment. Matt Miller is in first. Steve Baker was second. Jay Smart third. Ryan O'Connor fourth. Elliot Borg in fifth. Daniel Johnson in sixth. Troy Banks seventh. Carl Hurlitz in eighth. Dylan Gonaz in ninth. Steve Rubens 10th. Mason Sagar 13th. Tamas Boniati in 14th. Lindsay Green in 15th. Tyler Gatke 14th. Sorry. Zachary Kokos in 15th. Anthony Giuliano 16th. Michael Kostick 17th and Sean Atkins in 18th place. Yes, it is. Bear with me. They are lagging and I will try and sort it out. I've got a funny feeling it's also just popped up with the qualifying results. There is The actual winners' results: Mac Miller was in first, Steve Baker in second, Jay Smart third, Ryan O'Connor fourth, fifth, Troy Banks sixth, Thomas Boniatti in seventh, Carl Hurlitz eighth, Steve Rubens ninth, Sean Atkins 10th, Dylan Gonaz in 11th, Tyler Gatke in 12th, Michael Kostick in 13th, Lindsay Green 14th, Zachary Kokos 15th, Mason Sagar 16th, Daniel Johnson 17th, Anthony Giuliano is down in 18th place and last on that one. Biggles, well, not a bad 3-lap race, but we have got a 30-lap feature. We are going into a 3:18 warm-up session, so hopefully things work
3 minutes, yes, 3 minutes.
3 minutes remaining, yeah. I will frantically work in the background, so I'm going to leave you with Biggles for a minute while I try and work on my wonderful issues that I've got going on at the moment.
Don't leave me, move me. Yes, I'm going to start speaking Italiano to everybody out there. Hello, welcome. I speak a little bit of Spanish, but unfortunately I can't do my Italian. But do you like your pineapple on pizza? That'll be a question out there for the chat. I've always asked this before multiple times. Don't repeat it to the Italian customs and immigration officers. We may not be allowed to exit the track right now, as we are here. James will be sorting out some of those technical issues, of course. You got to remember, we are in a US racing league, so every driver on the grid is from North America. Put it that way. A couple of Canadians and the US of A, so they are all from the North America. I'm in Central America. James, unfortunately, is stuck across the pond. He's right across the pond. And you have to go over. So James having to do all that work behind the scenes is just stuck with a little bit of that latency, of course, of that cable that has to flow underneath the Atlantic Ocean. That will probably cause the reason why he has to deal with it. But now for me, thankfully, and I generally do cast a lot of the European leagues, I now have the advantage. A couple of practice starts, as you can see at the moment, and this is what you do. The drivers do it. And I tell you what, right now, if you guys are new to iRacing or not new to iRacing, practice starts are absolutely crucial. You can see some of the best drivers on the planet, regardless of their IR rating, bogged down with their shifting gears. Now, they all have fancy rigs. Some of the drivers have all these direct drives that have multiple shifting clutches and things like that. It's very, very easy to make a little bit of a mistake there. Your car's bogged down. All of a sudden, you're hearing cars going zoom, 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 like you're down a freeway with a broken down car. That's something that they're thinking about in the back of the mind. That's the reason why they're also practicing it. We'll see soon the tire strategy that they will be using. And right now, James, I think we'll be ready to go because you can see those tires. And there is your racing grid.
Yeah, there is the grid for the 30-lap feature. Matt Miller, Steve Baker, Jay Smart, Ryan O'Connor, Elliot Borg, Troy Banks, Thomas Boniatti, Carl Hurlick, Steve Rubens, Sean Atkins, Dylan Gonaz, Tyler Gatke further down there on that one. Then below that, Michael Kostick, Lindsay Green, Zachary Kokos, Mason Sagar, Daniel Johnson, Anthony Giuliano here for the 30-lap feature race. We're going to be underway very, very shortly with Mac Miller at the front of the grid, and it is green, green, green here again for race 2 as the guys getting underway for the 30-lap feature as he's come rushing down into turn 1 now. Mac Miller, Steve Baker, oh, side by side. How is that going to work? Well, it did, and it was Steve Baker that come out on top that time around, and everybody seemed to have made it through this time, Biggles.
Very clever, of course. Mac Miller had to lift off there because somewhere along the line, 1 to 2, 2 into 1 doesn't equal. Further in the background, we have Mr. Elliot Borg there, Jay Smart. Alec Borg getting a couple of places. That's that red car you see in the background. So Steve Baker and Mac Miller realize it's a 30-lap race. There's no point in murdering each other into turn 1, as Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton have not learnt before in the past. But these drivers certainly have here at Lightspeed Racing. So far, so good. Look at that track map at the moment. A little bit of a spread, but we saw again as you get a little bit of a gap all the way down into Jay Smart and Troy Banks. I think it is in P5, P6. Oh, there is somebody off in the background. That's O'Connor. I think it's O'Connor. Yeah, O'Connor's going spinning spinaroo, per se. Right there on cue. There it is for the Cheerline Racing team. Also somebody else in the background. I don't know. Well, it's difficult to say. Making their way around to start lap 2. That feature race. And at the moment, Mr. Steve Baker in the lead of this race. Replay. Oh, he's lost on his own. Yeah, and he's
Thomas Boniatti collected.
And he's
O'Connor.
collected Yeah, Rhino kind of might be unhappy about that, but then again, wrong place, wrong time. It happens. It's called motor race, Mikey. It's called a motor race. Steve Baker knows very much as a motor race as Mac Miller does as well. 1-2. We're looking at a Mason Sega, the 26 car at the moment, and making their way around Curva Grande. Climbing. Full speed, maximum speed, temple speed.
Now Carl Herzlitz is right behind him currently at the moment as these guys are now racing around Lesmo 1 as they're going to be coming through Lesmo 2. Mason Sagar and Carl Herlitz. Not much between them currently at the moment, but it is still Steve Baker out in front. Tyler Gatke has entered into the pits already. So Tyler is into nil still. Steve Baker out in front by half a second over Matt Miller here currently as the guys come running into the Alboreto Curva Parabolica.
Yeah.
Biggles, if they're not going to put a big name on it.
Keep an eye on Kyler. Yeah, Kyler making a run maybe for, a little bit further back. Zachary, I think it is, as they're approaching it to Curva Grande. A couple there it is, right on cue. That's actually 4-car wide. Somebody went even wider on the outside there of Alboreto corner, as you mentioned. Look at this. Run down here. No DRS is activated just yet. Just roll a little bit on your little ERS button and a little bit of slipstream.
Yeah, here they go. Is with that's Troy Banks. Zachary Kokos here in the yellow car, in the green and blue. Green and blue, orange and blue.
Oh! Too loud on the gas pedal coming out of the second turn. And Zachary spun in the wrong direction, has returned all the way back to pit for a tow.
Yeah, Michael Kostick as well is another one I think is going to have to go back in. He was involved in that incident. As you say, too much on the loud pedal there, Biggles, and he just spun that back end, didn't he?
It's easy to do it on the second turn, of course, the cold tyres. Remember, you're only on lap 3. It happens all the time. You've seen this over and over and again in Monza, but what you're seeing right at the moment, not over and over again at the moment, is the attack on Anthony. Lindsay in the background. Daniel a little bit further back. They've gained 9, 4, and 6 positions together on the track, so they're looking good. Greens are good. Positions gains are good. But how are you going to make your way surviving for the rest of the 28 laps here at Monza for the first race of the season here for Lightspeed Racing Team?
Yeah, this
series.
This is it as well. We've got Long Beach next. I think this is going to be the thing now. Matt Miller, he's got DRS. He's going to be chasing Steve Baker down now towards turn 1. The Variante chicane. Matt Miller and Steve Baker. Baker comes through still in the lead, but Elliot Borg is behind that. Jay Smart is behind that as well, but Daniel B. Johnson has picked up a big dose of DRS, but so has Lindsay Green in front of him. Has that DRS saved him, Biggles? It did this time around. Lindsay Green, I think, got saved by that one.
Yeah, let's have a look at that battle that's brewing at the moment. Yeah, Baker is the lead, of course. I think they're going to be switcheroo. They're very clever, I'd have to say, between Mr. Mac Miller and Steve Baker. They're doing it just patiently biding their time. They realize it's a race. Now, they are on the medium tyres. If you have to go back to the likes of Mason Sager, he's the only one on the soft tyres. They have to have a mandatory pit stop, so they have to change their tyre compound. Not a great difference between most of the drivers out on the track. A couple of them on the hards, but so far so good. So, yeah, it's a gamble. The soft tyres will burn a little bit more, as you know. And Mason Sago's gained 10 positions, so perhaps he's burned through those softs quite well, but they're working for him.
Yeah, but he has got a pit, which means he will go on to the mediums. Everybody else seems to be on mediums and hards. O'Connor on hards. Gatke's on hards as well. But Ryan O'Connor has gone into the pit. So has Tyler Gatke and Michael Kostick. Jake Smart looks like he's in the pits as well this time around with Zachary Kokos. Jay Smart there coming into the pits. Has dropped all the way down the order into 17th place. But this is Mason Sagar and Troy Banks. So...
Oh! He did not get the memo about Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton, did they?
No, that was exactly...
I mean, he's obviously got so much more pace on the soft tyres. He's got so much more pace, but I would just back off a little bit. Just get the exit speed out of the corner. You would have had him easy peasy going into Curva Grande. But, drivers are drivers, mate. They do what they do their own thing.
Back, look. And then he just kind of goes in. Oh.
Yeah, it's you're talking about 26 laps to go. Anyway, it's good to see. It's entertaining and it's fun. We still have Mr. Macmillan and Steve Baker at the front there, just separated by a little bit. You can see her on your screens right now. Screen plural, or screens if you have multiple screens. Hope you do. But yeah, I think at the moment, this is the wise thing about between these two drivers. You've got to remember these two drivers were battling for the championship last season. So they're wise. It's like old and wise, isn't it? They're not risking it for the biscuit too much just yet. There's plenty of time. You can see a little bit of a demo, a little bit of a in your mirrors, but no, not going for it. You see, because I think Mr. Steve Baker realizes that would just be once again maybe what we just saw before in the previous drivers.
I think that's going to be the problem here for these guys as well. How long is Matt Miller going to hold on for? It doesn't look like he's going to hold on very long at all. Round the second variant he goes, and that is Matt Miller out in front. Currently at the minute over Steve Baker, but how much longer will it last for? We will only but see as the race goes on. They've still got 24 laps here of Monza, and well, if that's anything to go by, Biggles, we're going to be in for an epic middle and ender.
We're always in for an epic racing when you're talking about Lightspeed Racing League. Elliot Borg now in the bull shift racing, he's gained a couple of positions. You can see he's now gaining enough to get perhaps a DRS coming up soon. So he's loving this battle between P1 and P2, you can see on your screen. And will that come into play and bring him into play? We'll see whether or not Mr. Macmillan and Steve Baker can do anything about it. There's twitching moments. So tyres are not necessarily going to have a straight run here right now. Who's getting the DRS?
Yeah. There is Steve Baker. He's out in front currently at the moment. DRS wide open. Jobs are good for him, and he makes it through. And, well, Steve Baker got the job done there. Big twitch from Matt Miller, though, going out of Parabolica. But he's coming back now on that run around into second variante here as well. How is this one going to pan out? He's got the lead back again. So Matt Miller is clearly showing pace, right? He's clearly got a lot of pace in his hands.
Yeah, he's cooked a little bit out of that corner, but might have done a little bit of floor damage. He'll be very careful to nurse these babies home. That's another thing. And once again, that has definitely brung Elliot Borg into play. He's now in the DRS range. So that 1-2 horse race has turned into a 3-horse race here in Italiano. Lap 7 of 30 for our first race of the season.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting one here as well, how this one pans out. First race of the season, they kind of really want to get points on the board, but you know, there's a few that aren't going to be getting points on the board this evening. As we've seen, some people were involved in quite a lot of incidents. Anthony Giuliano as well, apparently he's just shown up that he's been involved. So is Lindsey Green as well, and then there was right at the beginning Rubens Gonaz all involved as well. So there was a lot going on, Biggles, early on in this 30-lap feature, but it seems Matt Miller has now settled down, and it's kind of down to Anthony Giuliano here to try and make a difference.
Yeah, Giuliano's in the DRS range. He's got green up the road there. We're watching Mac Miller, of course, but you'll have a look at that Giuliani in the medium tyre runs. Giuliano, yeah, and you can see. So he's trying something. I'm not quite sure it's enough as the telemetry is updated a little bit there. And that's the Blue Bulls racing team. It's got a bit of a clear track. You can see on the track map at the moment, that's the 17 car. That's the blue dot. If you are new to iRacing, hello, welcome. A little bit further back, there's a battle for P13 brewing there, James. And that's because it's medium tyres versus hards of Kolask. I think it is at the moment there. Michael Kolask, yeah, the Broken Wings racing team. Trying to put pressure on P13 there of Ryan.
Yeah, Tyler Gatke and Michael Kostick. Yeah. Tyler Gatke and Michael Kostick from the same team, Broken Wings Racing. So whether or not there was some interesting team
should be a switcheroo, right, of the different strategy. Yeah, that's what I'd imagine. Look at the medium runners at the moment, hard runners there of Ryan O'Connor, electing the different strategy. A few of the other drivers have already boxed before. That's the reason why they've elected to go the hard tyres, so they can go straight to the end of the race and not have to worry about another pit stop. But the top drivers on the timesheet all the way down to P11, they will have to worry about a pit stop because Mason Seeger in P11 has made a pit stop. So Everybody else has to make one. And a pit stop around here costs you about 20 or something seconds there, James, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, 30s, I think, give or take. You get it right.
Yeah, 30 odd seconds here as well. So he should get past Mason Sagar and Thomas Boniati. But whether or not he can get further up to Anthony Giuliano, it's going to be a different story altogether. And there is Giuliano there on your screen as we give the timing software a minute to catch up here as well. It's not helped currently at the moment by my wonderful internet that has decided that it doesn't like wanting to work.
I think I need a little bit of moment to catch up at the moment because I haven't seen that one at the moment. But you're watching. Welcome everybody for tuning in for the first race of the season. Just remember it's the first race of the season and many more racing to go. And on tracks, you'll never see a Formula One car go in real life ever. But that's what you're going to bring at live speed racing. We spice things up every single time. Especially when you go to Long Beach in a Formula One car too. That's going to be fun. And don't even mention Bathurst in round 4.
No, who wants to go to Bathurst in a Formula One car?
Me.
Why? Why do you?
Because I want to see what carnage involves. 1/3 of the way through the race at the moment, James. So at some point, you expect those medium runners have to come in there and visit the elder. If it was the Formula One game, it would be Jeffrey. But now at the moment, you're going to be going visiting the elder Jamesy. James, hey, main friend, you are a Simi Award nominee. You're doing something right at the moment. People love your broadcasting, and why not? I love your casting too.
Yeah, they're not loving it at the moment because it is kind of dying in a severe way here at the moment. I'm trying to resurrect my internet, and without sticking it on a shocking machine, there's not a lot I can physically do. You know what I mean? Without zapping it, and I don't really want to restart it because it will just cut everything off. But at the moment, it is running very slowly. So I am sorry, guys, if you are having issues. I am trying to resolve it, but at the moment, it's just not happening.
It's one of those days, isn't it? One of those days. Not much you can do about it. Let's see if I can sort something out in the background there for you, James, and then maybe we'll get some pictures for you. For now, everybody bear with us.
There is pictures going out, but it's incredibly laggy, so I do apologise again for that one. UK internet not playing ball.
We know.
Thanks.
Well,
mate.
it's because most of the drivers, or all the drivers at the moment, are here in the North America, so you're the only one, my friend, that's across the pond, which is probably the reason why you're having a little bit of an issue. But not too much of an issue for the Victoria's Secret team.
Gatki's just run wide then as well. Gatki run wide, he had to try and pull it back. It's going to be a straight sprint down into turn 1. How is this going to pan out for these guys? We've got Gatki on the right, Atkins on the left. Here they go now. Atkins DRS wide open. Looks like he's going to make it through. He is this time around, and that is Atkins up into... Oh, and he's gone round. Too much on the gas pedal. Sean Atkins has gone round in turn 1. And unfortunately for him, he's now dropped down.
We've seen it before.
Yeah.
The turn 1's notoriously dangerous to get through.
Yeah, and that's it. He's down the order.
Especially on some worn tyres as well. Well, he's on hard tyres, even though for some reason it's obviously showing hard tyres, but if you look at his car physically, it is showing the medium tyres, but that's a little bit of a trickery that iRacing does sometimes. Yeah, he's pulled off here.
They don't change tyre compounds, do they? There's still that glitch in the system where if you change your tyres, it doesn't want to change them on screen. So from that point of view, that's what could be the problem there for Sean Atkins. But he is on the hards, and he has gone into the pits, Biggles. So there we go.
Box, 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 and box. If you didn't get it the second time, you'll get it the third time. Miller and, Steve Baker have to be looking at that, hearing that box, box, box. And here at the moment, 12 of 30, so they're getting to the halfway point. and Mr. Miller at the moment for the Burnt Rubber Racing team. He's got a 2.7 second gap over there, so Steve Baker's kind of backed off a little bit there. Maybe thinking about an alternative strategy, maybe fuel saving a little bit, maybe tire saving a little bit to see if they could do some sort of undercut or overcut performance here for the first race.
Yeah, let's see how it gets on and see what happens when they go into the pits. But Matt Miller is currently out in front for Burnt Rubber Racing and seems to be doing the job quite happily. He's got a gap of about 2.95 seconds over this man, Steve Baker. So he's flying along quite nicely, Matt Miller, really, isn't he, currently at the moment? He had that little bit of a battle, and now he's pulled out 3 seconds.
Yes, we have to check whether or not I'm going to look at some sort of telemetry there. Zachary's come off and on and off and on and off and on. Zachary at the moment of the clutches of World Racing. I'm not sure he's even in the race currently at the moment, but going back to Steve Baker, yes. A little bit different. There is Zachary on screen. So had an adventure, and adventures per se, the Blue Bulling team, but still in the race, which is what you want to be finishing a race, as they say. But go back to Steve Baker. Yeah, I mean, lap times 122.7s, 122.7s for Mac Miller. He must have made a mistake somewhere to lose a little bit of time, or once again saving his tires for perhaps that different strategy. Keep an eye out too for Elliot Borg in P3. He's gained 2 positions. Dylan for the Victoria's Secret team, for the Canadian driver in P4. He's gained 7 positions there, James. So you have to say it's pretty impressive. You see him in the pictures just in the background.
Yeah, and also Daniel Johnson is another one. He's gained 11 places so far, but he also hasn't pitted. So it'd be interesting to see where he comes out after his pit stop to see whether or not he's able to improve there as well. So,
yeah, well, maybe right there, because it looks like somebody goes straight deep into turn 1.
yeah, I think that's
Was it a position gain? I don't think so, actually.
No, it wasn't a position for Elliot Borg.
Zachary's not having...
No, not the best day.
Yeah, Zachary is struggling in Italy. Zachary does not like any pineapple in pizza, perhaps. Or perhaps he doesn't. He does like pineapple pizza. Other way, he's not liking Monza.
Yeah, definitely is not going too well for Zachary Coco's there. But Elliot Borg is going along quite nicely. You still see the leaders. I think that's a little bit important. I think it's when you can't see the leaders that you need to start worrying, because then you definitely know that you're losing pace. But at the moment, Elliot Borg can just about see Steve Baker. So he's got to have a little bit of confidence within himself that he's going to be able to do it.
Yeah, and you want to see, if you look at the track map, but you're also going to have Miller approaching. You're going to track map. He's approaching P13. So it means he also gets, remember, those back markers are going to give you a DRS tow. So if you're within 1 second of the drivers that are even you're lapping, you'll get a DRS tow. That's going to be a massive advantage for you. Other drivers all get it. Everybody gets it. You see the track map is going to be, they're following through. So, what goes around comes around. P6 is boxing at the moment, and that's Kyle. So he's getting rid of those medium tires. I'd have to say, James, this is now the crossover when you're going to start seeing people boxing.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the thing. And they're not going to be in there very long either. I think that's, they're going to be in there a few seconds before they're bumped on their way and away they go again. So that's why I don't think the lap times are really a true representation. Ryan Connor gains another position past Carl Hurlitz. It's Mason Sagar, 6.5 seconds at the moment. Mason has pitted, and so is Anthony Giuliano hasn't. So Anthony Giuliano hasn't pitted there either. So Ryan O'Connor could be in for a good shout of good haul of points here as he battles his way back through on them hard tyres. So
and for a fact, James, points are good. Points are good. Absolutely. Especially in your first race, because everybody's 0. It's now 79 car leading the race. I'm quite sure. I don't think he's going to go in. Stays out for another lap, James.
Yeah, hold on. Bear with me 2 seconds, mate. I'm not entirely sure what's happened.
James is braking.
I'm not sure what's happened. You have to bear with me a minute. It's just kind of all gone.
You'll be right. You get it, mate.
Completely wrong on me. I can't actually do anything.
The damn red coat out there in the chat, my friend, is like going, those damn red coats. It's so appropriate. James is not a red coat. He wasn't born around the 1700s, of course, for the trying to fight off the Declaration of Independence there from the United States of America, as we're here in Italy. Mac Bell, I'll give you a little bit of audio feedback there if I can read it. Mac Bell is leading there from Steve Baker, Elliot, Dylan, Daniel, and Thomas. We'll be wrapping at your top 6. Lindsay, Antonio, Mason, and Ryan will be in your top 10. That's pretty much it. I'm also lagging a little bit as well there, James. So I don't think it's just you and me, mate. It's pretty much everybody from the spectating menu right now.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be good at the moment. It's not loving it. It's reloading the sim.
It's choppy, mate. Yeah,
it's reloading, guys. So I'm trying to get it back. Bear with me. I do deeply apologise. It just kind of decided enough was enough is enough, and it just went. But it's come back quite quickly, and we are loading back in. So just bear with us. I'm sorry there, damn Redcoat. It's, you know what I mean. We're trying to get it back.
It's not like James is trying to do this, trust me, because I want to see the entertainment as much as you are, my friend, and I'm getting choppy. I'm getting like 1 frame a second currently at the moment. But yes, we'll get it back as pitches as quickly as possible. If anybody could do it, James can.
Get out there and...
Trust me, James is pulling out hairs of his beard right now in frustration because he wants to show this.
You have no idea what's going on in my head about now, but I wish there was a little beat button that I could quite happily control. Let's just put it... There we go.
Got it for you, James. Hey, I know you're shouting. But you know what? These are things, the technical things that happen out of your control, and you are doing your best that you possibly can. As I said, trust me, James is always doing his best. I mean, you haven't heard the amount of times James is at me before in the past if I made a mistake, and there it is. I think we're pretty much good to go, Jan.
Yeah, I think we're back at it now. I'll try and bring you a brief recap of what's gone on. Matt Miller still looks like he's out in front. They still haven't pitted, mind you, so they have looking like they are still staying out. Miller, Baker, Borg, Gomez, Johnson, Boniatti, Green, and Giuliano. So we are back here again. Thank you so much if you have joined us. If you want to hit, you know, the like button, subscribe, and turn on the bell.
That button? Was it that button, James? I was hitting it.
I don't know. They've just all streamed in, and the internet's gone, and it's chopping around all over the place, and everything's going wrong.
Yeah. Oh. You internet, what are you trying to do to James and I, internet?
Oh, don't.
All these drivers at LSRL are doing their best at the moment, and you're throwing everything you possibly can. But don't worry about it. We still have a bit of time to go, James. We're okay. We have about 10 laps.
Trying to not bash up my router and everything else currently at the moment as well. Johnson is on his... Oh, dearie me. What more can we ask for? He's in the pit. Steve Baker is out, and he's pitted, and he's gone again. He's now on the softs for a 9-lap sprint for Steve Baker. He's got to try and make this outlap count, Biggles, isn't he? Because otherwise he's not going to be able to make use of them soft tyres.
Yeah, if you're going to use soft tyres, you have to make use of them. Exactly. You called it perfectly. The only man inside the top, well, Mr. Daniel in P9 has, but yeah, it's an alternative opportunity, but again, 9 laps to go. James, give us a 10. And what's his gap? Oh, well, race leader's in, Mac Miller.
Yeah,
so we know Mac's going in.
So there he is, cruising along at 50 miles an hour.
It's so slow, isn't it? And the tempo speed when you're doing 100, 200 plus miles an hour down a main straightaway, and then all of a sudden you go 50. I feel like I'm driving driving Miss Daisy.
Yeah, Mac is still in. He's on his way out. I think Steve Baker is on his way.
He's got to take it. Steve Baker's going to go straight past him right now. Zoom, zoom, zoom.
No. I think you're a little bit excited there, sir, because Baker, Matt Miller, is already down the road. Yeah.
I was just building up a hype to make sure everybody's paying attention out there in the chat.
Miller, top of the screen. Nearly.
Got it.
Nearly. I would say nearly got it. He didn't quite get it that time, though. And, yeah, bit of a shame for Steve Baker. But there we go. Daniel Johnson has come out here, chasing down Mason Sagar. This is a battle down for 8th and 9th place. One of the closest on the track currently at the moment, Biggles. 8 laps remaining. And I think we're still in as Daniel Johnson does clear Sagar. puff of smoke on the way in, gets the job done into turn 1, and away he goes. So,
yeah, you got to lock up a little bit turn 1, turn 2 for sure. If you don't have a little bit of puff smoke coming out of your corner there, you're not driving hard. That's a deep braking course. You're doing plus 200 miles an hour down the main straightaway, and then of course you have to make brake into turn 1, turn 2. So you need to be puffing smoking out of the back at the moment, either puffing smoking out of the helmet or puffing smoking out of the car. Elliot Borg will be boxing from P1 and will lose that position back to Mr. Miller. Mac Miller will be resuming this race on lap 23.
Yeah, he's already gone round there as well. Steve Baker, I think, is going to get Elliot Borg. Is just about, there goes Steve Baker. Elliot Borg is all about Dylan Gomez. He looks a little bit far back. He is on the back straight, unfortunately, so I don't think he's going to make it past Elliot Borg this time. Elliot there on the soft tyres, and away he goes, all ready to run and rumble with a little over 7 laps remaining. So there we go. Hopefully everybody...
It's looking good. Dylan's looking good. Now, Tamas and has just boxed. Lindsay's just boxed, so a couple of other drivers. But Dylan, P5, 5 positions gained at the moment. The 27 car, as you're watching on board, for the Canadian driver. Looking good for a solid P4. You have to like it. Elliot Borg has gained 2 positions. No positions gained between Mac Miller and Steve at the top of the timesheets. But that's interesting to see how they're going to pan out. Mason Sager there has also gained 5 positions. So keep an eye on that. Once again, you gaining positions from your qualifying performance there, James. That's a tick box that you want to have on your resume.
Yeah, definitely. I'm interested though, because we've got Ryan and O'Connor who went in quite early onto the hard tyres. And he's now just chasing down Mason Sager as Tamas Boniatti has gone through the first chicane. He's now chasing down Mason Sager. He's got about a 3.2 second gap currently at the moment. So we'll have to see how that one pans out. But this gap here with Daniel B. Johnson back to Mason Sager is about 1.7. As it goes, to say that, and it goes back out to 2.5 seconds. But
well, Mason's on the mediums. That's a little bit more of a challenge, you'd have to say, there for Mason. But then again, it depends on how you're going to drive that car. 2 seconds, of course, you get into that 1 second marker. Also, P9 and P10 are brewing up there. They're in the similar tyres, as you mentioned there. There was Anthony and Tamas.
Yeah, these guys with 6 laps remaining. Gap's now closed. Tamas Boniatti is down, basically 3 tenths back from Giuliano. This is going to be the run up into the Parabolica. Boniatti behind him there as well. How is this going to go, Biggles?
Yeah, see, the trigger point right there, James. You don't want to be passing him before the trigger point. That's your DRS trigger point. Now, and survive Parabolica. Bad exit, I have to say, there from Tamas. My apologies for the bull racing. But there, see, it's cost him that, isn't it? Now, even with that DRS, he's not going to be able to great run in turn 1.
No, he's too far back, and that's going to be a dive and a half if he takes that plunge there as well. And I don't think really...
outshot himself because of the extra braking there. I have to say, James, it looked like he was following the car and not following his own racing line. And I'm going to be picked on that one from Tamas, so my apologies, but that's what happens.
But you're not just saying anything that's different, are you? You know, we could jump in with him, and that's the thing. We're not saying anything that's different. He did outbrake himself going into that first chicane, and you do get that tunnel vision, don't you, of how the action looks compared to how we're seeing it compared to how they're seeing it. And if he's followed a driver, he's followed a driver. It happens. I've done it numerous amounts of times where I've ended up in a gravel truck because I followed somebody off because I thought it was a good idea at the time.
You're right, yeah, because Anthony made a little bit of a mistake going in the corner, and he had to absolutely outbrake himself into that corner. Once again, that's what it is. It's racing and driving and bumping and grinding. And Mac Miller at the moment, Steve, I'm not sure Steve can do anything about a 7-second gap, mate. That's they were like half a second separated between each other for a lot of that style of race, and it just went a little bit all pearl-shaped on that one. Well, any other close battles for
No, Steve was 1 second slower than Matt Miller that time on the last lap. Miller with a 1:22.08, Baker with a 1:23.08.
Do you think he has given up?
To be fair,
do you think it's like settle for a P2? I mean, P2 is a podium. I'm going to take the bubbly stuff here in Monza any day of the week.
He might as well. He might as well because, you know, he's got 17 seconds behind him. So he's not under any real pressure currently at the moment, is he?
No, he can, actually, tell you what. if you could crank it up a few gears here and put in some bankers, you might have a pit stop window. Get out there and get the fastest lap. Now, who has the fastest lap currently at the moment there, James? Because remember, that's an extra point.
Mm.
And we saw the championship was divided by 2 points last season. Imagine if you get one little extra point there on your resume.
Well, I'll bring you up the best times and you can have a look and see who's got it. Miller's got it.
So you can take it away from Miller then. So, but he's got to crank it because obviously it's risking it for the biscuit when he got on the pit lane. Something can go wrong, but well, you saw the pits. It's 29 seconds for a pit stop. He's not going to be able to do it. I was just trying to hype it up a little bit.
Yeah,
sorry there.
That's
Mr. Steve Baker. I was hoping you could get it done there, but settle for a P2. Elliot's done a great job in P3. I don't think he's gotten any pressure from Dylan, who's got 5 positions gained as well. Look out for those Canadians, mate. Dylan did a great job last season, didn't he? Very improvement, I'd have to say, late in the season, and he's proving this off the bat immediately as we're looking at Thomas.
Yeah, Boniatti trying to close back up to Giuliano. Again, don't forget he did a try on that last time and unfortunately went wrong. But the gap is down below 6 tenths currently at the moment. This is going to be the battle leading us down to the line. 3 laps remaining here, and it looks like, I've got to be honest, it looks like Matt Miller's kind of got this one under control, Biggles.
I'm pretty sure he has. But this is a battle right now for a crucial championship points in the World Championship, remember. You get paid, and you get paid well. Depending on when you get paid for a P9, you get paid for a P10. I'm pretty sure at the moment there that Tamas for the Bull Shift Racing wants to get paid a little bit more points than his counter Anthony up the road there for the Blue Ballers team. Closest battle on track. Welcome along to Monza.
Yep, and Tamas down in 10th place gets 6 points. Anthony in 9th gets 7. So there is a 1 point difference. Yeah, it's come down to 2 tenths. It's going to make this run down into the first chicane, I think, Biggles.
Yeah, got to get a good exit here. Out of the Parabolica. Slam the gas pedal. Hope that car sticks. 170, 180, 190, 200 miles an hour. 8th gear, flat out. DRS activated. Can he make it run here, James?
He's going to try. He's coming on the outside now. Tamas Boniatti, they're going to run side by side. Giuliano, it kind of doesn't make much of a defense of that. And Tamas makes his way through. And Tamas is now up into 9th place here at Monza for Tamas Boniatti.
And now what you're going to be doing, James, is that see the flashing light of, I call it the flashing light of death for the back of the car. That means the harvesting ERS energy. You use it for your defense. You use it for your offense. Oh, that's not good for Anthony at all. He had to take the escape road, and I may say Anthony might have just destroyed the opportunity of stealing this one back now, James.
Yeah, I think he's lost too much time. He's now 1.5 back. Anthony Giuliano. Just overcooked.
It's so sad. We wanted to see that little showdown because it would have been switcheroo, isn't it? You would have got the ERS and DRS attack back. He may still, of course, anything can happen, and it does happen when it comes to motor racing. Thomas can make the same mistake because he's under pressure, but we'll find out. But I don't think Mac Miller's that much of a pressure at the moment, mate, with a clear 8-second advantage up the road to taste the bubbly stuff.
Yeah. He just seemed to pull away, didn't he? They were really close, and then he just put his foot down and said, right, I've had enough now, see you later. And
he boxed a lap later.
Yeah.
So lap 21, lap 20 there for Steve. I wonder if they'd be crunching those numbers a little bit further down there for the Colbert Racing team to say, how could we have jumped, skipped, and hopped there, Mr. Mac Miller future? Because the future is coming, my friend. This is only the first round.
Yeah, and we're going to be on. We've got one more this lap and one more before the end of the race. Let's see how they get on. I think Anthony Giuliano is into the pits. There.
He might have got damage. Oh, they've gone for a fast lap. But then he's outside the top 10.
He's a bit late, isn't he, back from that one?
Yeah.
But he's into the pits there. Mac Miller is out in front, doing the job by about 9.5 seconds.
Can we ride on board with Mac Miller? I want to see how he's taking this burnt-out rubber racing team. Look at that. Smooth operator. Carlos Sainz is watching this right now going, smooth operator. Absolutely. Look at this through the scurry, mate. It's like driving on rails.
He's doing it so well. Got to give him credit on that one. He's going to come round and take the final lap. very, very shortly round the Alboreto Parabolica.
Got it both. Yep.
No double inputs even from him, can you? He's just got one single movement all the time.
Yeah, a little lot of traffic up the road there. Probably even give him a DRS run further back into the back stretch of the race. But let's see it brakes. Where's he brake? 50 mark. Not that heavy. Lock up from the car ahead, but smooth through there. Turns one, turn two. Look at the way he's gained on that on the back marker up the road there. But Mac Miller has to have a. Can you show his face? Of course, you have that camera. I want to see his helmet, and I want to see his facial reactions as he's making his way into turns 4 and 5. Oh, yep, a little bit of a jumpy because he has the car up the road, of course, to deal with. Now through the Curva Grande. Then Lesmo is my friend. They can take them to dinner or not. Certainly buy him some flowers because if you get them wrong, you're in trouble.
Do you know, that camera we spoke about is not on this one.
That's fine. It's all good. Mac Miller doesn't worry about it. Mac Miller knows. Cockpit camera, perhaps. I don't know. Here we are, Mac Miller T-Cam. It's just a little bit of a cruise, isn't it? 194 miles an hour down this one. Just one more corner to handle. James, you think Mac Miller's done it?
I think so too. Mac Miller's going to come across the line, take the checkered flag, and take the victory here tonight as well. Second place will be Steve Baker. Steve here in second. Does a stellar job, 10.5 seconds back. Elliot Borg behind that. I think Elliot's done an amazing job here, finishing in third. Dylan Gonaz, the first of the Canadians. So Dylan gets a trophy. He is the fastest Canadian in the field at the moment.
He's certainly quicker than the other Canadian driver that's not in Formula 1 anymore, but he's aware of that one. Good on you, Dylan. Victoria's secret is no secret no more.
Yeah, Daniel Johnson from Cobalt Racing is in fifth. Mason Sagar from Chi Line Racing. His teammate Ryan O'Connor, who's recovered, took the early pit stop down on lap 2 and made them hard tyres work and got herself back up into 7th place. Lindsay Green from Burnt Rubber Racing being chased down by Thomas Boniatti from Bull Shift Racing.
We gotcha.
Mate, I need that.
Here we go.
I need that at the moment, I'll tell you that much. But these two are the last to finish here tonight, and it's going to be Lindsay Green over Thomas Boniatti. So there we go. That basically is tonight's racing done and dusted here from Monza. We can bring you up the results from the feature race. Matt Miller is out in first place by about 10.9 seconds there, Biggles. Steve Baker in second, Elliot Borg third, Dylan Gonaz fourth, Daniel Johnson fifth, Mason Sagar sixth, Ryan O'Connor seventh, Lindsay Green eighth, Thomas Boniatti in ninth, Michael Kostick 10th, Steve Rubens is 11th, Sean Atkins in 12th, Anthony Giuliano then 13th, Zachary Coco's 14th, Tyler Gatke 15th, Kyle Hurlitz in 16th, Troy Banks in 17th, Jay Smart is the last person on the grid in 18th place. As opening races Matt Miller just kind of dominated that one, really, didn't he? He was literally, apart from a few overtakes from Steve Baker, he wasn't really under pressure at all.
He handled the Temple Speed quite well. He got that trophy on his cabinet wall there in front of the Tifosi, of course. He gets to spray the Ferrari. I can't say Champagne, of course, because it's not from the Ferrari region. Sorry, from the Champagne region of France. But it is one of their sponsors, of course, and you get to bubbly shake it all over Mr. Steve Baker and Elliot on the podium. That's all that matters, isn't it? Splashing that over your opponents there and setting the statement early in this series to say, I want that driver's championship trophy.
Yeah, and he's definitely going to go about it there. Matt Miller is into the interview room. Let's bring him in for a chat. Your winner of the opening round here in Monza is Matt Miller. Matt, welcome in. Thank you so much for joining us. Hope you are well. How are you?
Doing great, boys. Doing great. Good to be back. How's everyone doing?
Not bad at all. I would ask you how it went, but I can clearly see how it went. You know what I mean? You kind of dominated the race, and well, was it as easy as it's made out then? Because you did look like you had it completely under control.
Yeah, it was, just pacing myself really. I know Monza like the back of my hand, so I was really hoping to do well here and start the season off strong. So, nice result with that. Yeah, no, just looked after tires. You don't want to cook the rears here with the slow corners, so just look after everything, and seemed to work out in the end.
Well, you took the victory by 10 seconds, so I think it worked out quite well, Mac, don't you?
I'm satisfied. We'll put it that way.
I should hope so as well, buddy. What are we've got a mixture this season of road tracks and circuit tracks. What's going to be your favourite track, and what is your least favourite track of this season?
Oh man, well, least favorite, I don't have Fuji bought yet, so I'm not looking forward to having to learn an entire new track from scratch. That's for sure. Favorite track? I mean, Monza's definitely up there.
Well, mate, say Bathurst. Say Bathurst.
Oh God, I'm looking forward to that, but not for the reason you're thinking of. Probably Red Bull Ring. I feel amazing there. Fantastic track in these cars.
Yeah, I think Bathurst is going to be whether or not we can get 10 cars finishing, to be honest, because I'm pretty sure that mountain corkscrew section is going to claim some scalps there as well, Mac. But look, overall, congratulations on your victory this evening. Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to before you leave the booth this evening?
Yeah, shout out to my teammate Lindsay. Nice talking to you before the race. Getting the right mindset for a race. Everyone at Lightspeed, you guys put on a phenomenal league as always. Thanks for having me, guys.
No worries there, Matt. Well, you take care, and I look forward to seeing you next week in Long Beach.
Looking forward to it.
Take care. All right, we can bring in Steve Baker for a chat here this evening. Steve finishing in second place, 10 seconds back from Matt Miller, but nice, consistent, clean racing, Steve. Hope you are well. How are you, sir?
Doing great. How are you guys?
Oh, don't, mate. I've had problems tonight. I've had all sorts of internet issues going on. I've blacked out at one point, and it's just been chaos here in the booth. Biggles kangaroo snuck into my room and ate my cable. It's all been a bit messy, I've got to be honest. But, yours looks fairly clean. What happened? Was there a mistake on your part? Is that why you lost so much time to Matt Miller all of a sudden?
Well, we got off to a good start, got out front. Mac just had the pace on me, I think, tonight. I stayed out front as long as I could, and then ended up getting I lit up the rear tires there. I can't remember what corner. I think it was corner 4. Mac got by, and then he just got away. I think I just lit up the tires on a couple too many turns, and then wasn't able to get back in DRS range. From that point on, I think he just had the pace on me. So tried my best to keep the gap to Elliott, and then tried a little bit of an undercut with the pit stop, but it only got me within 3 seconds, and wasn't enough to get back to him. So from there on, it was kind of cruise control, make sure not to wreck the car, and get away with a clean finish for the first race of the year.
Okay, well, I'm going to ask you the same question I asked Mac just a minute ago. 16-car season, what's your most favourite track you're looking forward to? And what is the track that you're least looking forward to?
Oh, gosh. I don't even know if I've looked at the full schedule. Let me pop down real quick. I think Mount Panorama is probably going to be a wild one. That one or Detroit would be fun. Magny Cours being a new track. I'd say those two are probably 3 I'm looking forward to. Not a huge fan of Spa. I know that one's a favorite for a lot of folks, but not my favorite. So, I would say probably that.
Okay. Biggles, you got one question for Steve?
Yeah, my one question for you, Steve, is because, Steve, you got the power there. You got the powerhouse. and you're sick of finishing P2, my friend, to Mac Miller. Mac Miller got you again on this one. Mac Miller, 5 wins last season. You had 3 wins. What are you going to change this season here, Steve? How are you going to beat that man that beat you to the top step in the championship in the past?
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. I don't know that I'm gonna have the hours to put in the time to make up the pace. I'll have a little baby girl joining me here in a couple weeks, so we'll get in the races that we can, and then see what when we can race or when we have time to race. So out here just for fun, and like I said, it was a lot of fun battling Mac there when we were with him there early on in the race.
Okay, well, is it a new? Is she being born, Steve? I think that's the question I wanted to ask.
She is.
Right, okay, because I wasn't quite sure how to put it. You said in a couple of weeks. It's like you already knew when she's going to pop out. Is she, you know what I mean? Because obviously they're not exactly the most predictable things when they're inside, you know? It's just you seem to kind of know when she was coming.
That's the guesstimate.
Oh, okay. I wish you'd said that then, because that wouldn't have felt so awkward to ask the question of whether or not it was a baby. Oh, dear. Anyway, Steve, thank you very much for joining us. Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to before you leave the booth this evening?
Yeah, shout out to the admins for putting this thing together. Shout out to all the drivers. This is consistently one of the funnest and cleanest leagues I've run in, and thank you guys for broadcast. So look forward to next week.
No worries. Well, you take care, Steve. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next week in Long Beach.
Take care, guys.
Take care. Right, well, overall, Biggles, everybody, seems quite upbeat about that situation, don't they? I think Bathurst is going to be the people's least favourite track, mate. I think that's going to be the one that's going to... If we get 10 finishes in that one, I think we've had a good race. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, mate. When you come down to Bathurst, I'm going to fire up that barbecue and give you some roux on the barbecue. And I'll tell you, that mate, sweeten the taste of a circuit that might scare some of those drivers, doesn't it, as you go up and down through the mountain. And it's been fun today, hasn't it? It's the usual suspects at the top of the timesheet, Mac and Steve. It's always a race producer, isn't it? This is more fun than you can ever watch a Formula One race, to say any day of the week. That's why esports is the key to entertainment. And James, you bring the entertainment, even though you had a little bit of dilemmas and dramas. I know you're pulling a couple of hairs out of your beard on that one, but it's still fun, isn't it? And you're doing your best, and it's been entertaining. The drivers are the ones that entertain us.
Yeah, it has been entertaining, I've got to be honest as well. Yes, I have been pulling my beard out. I haven't got much of it left now after my internet issues, guys, but I think that's where we're going to wrap it up. So much appreciated for joining us this evening as well. If you have battled your way through the flaky internet that I'm currently having here in the UK, I applaud you. Thank you so much for joining us. But as always, guys, that has brought us to the end here. Now we're going on to Long Beach on January 28th here for the LSRL F1 Lightspeed Racing League. Don't forget to stay tuned with all the action that's coming up. Turn on the bells, subscribe, give the video, well, if you want to give, I don't know if you can cut the thumb off and give it half a thumb. That would be great. But guys, from myself here, I'm Biggles in the booth. You all take care. Have a great week, and you never know, might see you on a track sometime. Good night.